Hi everybody, welcome to D20tavernaz, Arizona. I'm J.C. the Dungeon Master for the current campaign that's rolling on right now. Today, for the presentation we're going to bring in here today to you, we just kind of want to introduce one of the players here. So I'm going to let him kind of segue into this. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Thomas. I am playing Smoke, the wonderfully lovable possum.
Yeah, and the possum is really different.
Yeah.
We'll get into that here in a little bit, but really here in the tavern today, here with D20, we want to go into this discussion, like some fun questions here. So Thomas, pie or cake?
So this is Thomas or Smoke?
This is Thomas.
Ooh, I think pie. Yeah.
Pie? And what kind of pie?
If I say Boston cream, will it just
Boston
kind of tick
cream
everybody
pie?
off?
I don't even know about Boston cream
Is it a
pie.
cake? Is it a pie? What do you do with that? I mean, no, I love a good, love most good fruit pies. But I grew up in a part of the world where we had fudge pie.
Fudge pie.
Yeah, it'd be like chocolatey, but not like a mousse chocolate. It was almost like, you ever had a pecan pie?
Yeah.
So you know that gooey Cairo syrupy stuff that pecans are all in?
Oh,
it's like
man.
that with just chocolate.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow. Okay, so
now the whole thing's off. You just want pie now.
I just want to go off on
Now
pie.
you know I'm a pie guy.
Okay, so the next one for another treat. So that's like, on the side of maybe we'll put a little pie station in the campaign. We'll
Okay.
kind of go there.
Okay.
Donuts or ice cream?
Ooh. Well, I think we're going to have to go ice cream. Yeah, because it's really hard to have bad ice cream, but there are inferior donuts in the world.
Oh,
So
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And we had a little birthday celebration this morning, and my father-in-law brought some donuts over, and all donuts to me are good.
all donuts.
Almost all donuts are
All
good.
donuts.
Almost all donuts.
Wow.
Except like if you're not gonna turn down a donut if it's in front of you, right?
Oh, and I've learned to.
Well, you've learned to.
Yeah.
So
It's an acquired
it's
skill.
like a acquired skill. But I just cannot say no to like maple donuts. Like I could just eat a maple donut after maple donut after maple.
See, I think this is for you're from the northern part of the country.
Yeah.
Because immediately in my mind, I think Canada when you say that, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I've ever had a maple donut, and I've been in Canada,
Wow.
but I missed out on
Never
that.
had a
I went in the
maple donut.
summer, so it wasn't really
Breaking news from
Yeah.
D20 Tavern.
Well,
We've met a person on this planet that has never had a maple donut.
Yeah. And when I have donuts, I want Krispy Kreme chocolate glazed, and then that's it. I just want to move on after that.
And final food question.
Okay.
And we're gonna go to drinking or drinks. No, in the morning. What goes good with coffee? Or no, coffee goes good with cake, and I think pie, donuts, and you can make it a coffee or a ice cream flavor is coffee.
Okay.
Are
Yeah.
you a coffee guy or no coffee guy?
I like coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I'm as obsessed with it as some other people, but
I know that when you brought that coffee up there.
Yeah, I make a good cold brew, don't I? Yeah.
Man, the cold brew was good.
Yeah, I had a friend who worked he was actually the brewmaster at a local coffee shop that did beer and coffee together, and he taught me the recipe for cold brew, and so that's what I had this morning. That's what I make, and my wife likes it, and so it's always in the house.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So now you're kind of new to this whole like role playing game.
Yeah,
experience
was
and
it
stuff.
2 years now, maybe?
And was it 2 years? And the funny thing is, it took place at my house and it was over a board game stuff. But kind of go into that whole thing.
Yeah, we were supposed to be. I got invited to come with a mutual friend of ours, Steve. He just like, hey, I've got a friend who his family's out of town. You were the friend who didn't know you at all the time, and we're gonna just play some board games. Do you want to come? And I'm like, absolutely. And Steve and I have been playing board games together for a while, and he invited me over. And I still to this day, and we're going to do this on camera, so you've never heard this. I personally think that you and Steve planned that, and that was my tryout to get in the group. Looking back on it all, that was my trial to see, do we want to let this guy in the role-playing group?
I think that might have been Steve's.
That was Steve's plan? Well, he worked it really well.
And the way he brought it in and stuff, and kind of the discussion, and from my perspective, with everybody's, in my belief, I think that just about, and I think both of us could attest, know this, there are some people just are not meant for it. But I think that everybody, if they give it a fair shot to role playing, would like it just like a good book. And so I felt it that night. Sorry to interrupt you, and I was like, hey, so there's this other game that we do, and I think we just all got super amped.
Yeah, well, I shared with y'all that I was at a point in my life where I had heard of role playing games. I didn't really know exactly what they were. And I had some wrong ideas and some right ideas and everything else, but I understood you were sitting around with a bunch of people kind of working through the story, and there was some like actual mechanics and stuff involved. And so I knew that was a thing, and I was actually at this time of my life where I thought I was going to be playing role-playing games. And I have some other friends that are into role-playing games, and they like got me together for a game night. And I remember going to that night thinking, I'm probably going to play D&D tonight, because they were all really into it.
Yeah.
And I got kind of excited for it, like, because I got to a place like, yeah, I'm willing to do it with these guys. I'll try. And we went and we played Oregon Trail card game. I was like, the card game version, yeah. And so the whole night was a raging disappointment.
That is
because we were not
Oregon
the games were
Trail.
fun, but it wasn't. I thought we were going to role play and we didn't. And I even told them at the end, and one of the guys was like, yeah, that would have been really good tonight. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I was kind of in that place of like, I don't know how to get into this world. And when we got over here and you and Steve started talking about it, I was spending the whole night trying to not come on too strong, for lack of a better way to put it, because I just wanted to try it so bad. And not only did y'all offer me role playing, y'all offered me the Star Wars role play, which I love Star Wars. And so I was in hook, line, and sinker, and we actually that night built that first character, which despite what the GM says is still alive, because he didn't kill him in the last session. And so I hold that he's still there.
That's a whole other tangent.
Yeah, I know, but I got to get it in.
But we've been going on for probably, I would say 2 years.
Yeah, now D&D's, I've only played, I think I'm still less than 20 sessions in.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I've not done many. Most all of them have been with you. I've done maybe 5 without you. So I don't think I've not done much in the world of D&D. And Smoke is one of my first casters to play.
Yeah. Oh boy. Your experience like playing Dungeons & Dragons so far, like on a scale of 1 to 10 for role-playing games.
Yeah.
Like 1 being, oh man, this is super easy, to 10, like this is like a whole lot of study to it, or did it really come naturally with experience?
So I think I kind of cheated my way into that, in that having the other role-playing experience we had done, I realized you don't have to know all the rules.
Yeah.
Like, that hit me pretty early. I was very nervous of that. Like, before we played this, so we built that character here that night, and before we played the first session, I had read the handbook multiple times through and through.
I cheated there. I gave him the player's handbook because I had to use it. So you do with it what you want.
Yeah.
Because you are kind of a research nerd, so I let you kind of go off a little bit.
Yeah, well, I was a master student at the time when all this started, and so I was used to just reading anything. And so I read it a lot, and I realized, wow, all that stuff I read didn't really matter. Like, it was a whole bunch of other stuff. And so it did give me the confidence that I immediately, and this is another, but that's I think one of the reasons, I messaged that group, and I played my first session, and that was on a Sunday, I believe. On Monday, I offered to my friends I hang out with, hey, I want y'all to try this. Before I went back to play my second session, I had DM'd a game, or GM'd a game at that point. But, so all that is, I came in realizing the rules didn't matter as much. So when I came in to D&D, I was less worried about reading the whole book and more about figuring out who I was going to play. Because I realized that was the important thing, knowing the character as best as I could, to then just be able to, you being the DM would know the rules and wouldn't let me do anything wrong. So it's been fairly easy, but I feel like I cheated into that being easy.
Little does he know that one of my favorite things to do is let the players kind of do some things wrong, so we kind of all have these learning moments.
Yeah,
and
I do plenty of stuff wrong.
Yeah, but it's okay. So we're all we come up with this idea where we want to begin to stream, and I was kind of bugging on you for a little bit. And I was starting to cherry pick some people, and we got into a really large group, and there was a moment up in the cabin where we were able to do some really cool role play, and was in with one of the a YouTuber at the time.
The Goblin thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And on the way back, we started coming up with this whole idea of let's do a YouTube stream and let's start going this way. And then I had spoke with Bogdan, and which another interview will kind of come up here. But when we started going through this, and then we had this discussion, and this is where I really like to lean into the players. Because I want to start to get their idea. And then we started coming up with this whole thought of and this will give a little bit of the theme of the story that we're going into in the Eberron game, where it's maybe a rescue, a kind of like smuggling type campaign, or
we're moonshine runners. I mean, you might have a different idea, but I built this character as a moonshine runner. So, like, that's exactly what he is.
And I think that's basically where it kind of, if you watch the end of the first episode with section 1, it really was starting to lean into that theme of
some hidden stuff. We got trapdoors and hidden places, and
taking a recipe,
and all these ingredients, and
from the gator, right, who almost ate one of the characters and stuff. So we got this little a possum, which was another idea that kind of came up during the chat, because one of the rules that I'd set up in there was, let's do something different. Let's not do a typical elf and dwarf thing. Yeah. And then everyone started coming up with these crazy ideas, and one of the things that came across was this little, what was it that came across? A squirrel?
So we had the monster, transport company. I immediately, that's when I went to, we're going to be transporting moonshine, at least in my mind. Or my character, that was going to be his background, and he would bring it to whatever we were going to do. And that idea kind of went. And I started off with with him as like the background of his own, with a raccoon. And one of the guys sent this homebrew rules for raccoons. And one of the options in that was there were subclasses. And one of the subclasses for raccoon was possum. And as soon as I saw possum, I envisioned this gray possum wearing overalls and pulling the components for his magic out of the pouch in that front pocket in your overalls. And I'm like, that's Smoke. That's the guy right there. I mean,
and why Smoke? Why the name Smoke?
So on that homebrew sheet, right, it actually lists that the raccoons and possums would take names and give names to the children based off food or ways of cooking. And one of the actual ones listed was Char. And as soon as I thought Char, Smokey the Bandit popped in my head. And I was like, there you go. This fits. Smoke works. I like, I don't know if you've picked up on it, a lot of my characters get named based on what they look like in some way. Him being gray, it just all kind of fit, and so we got Smoke.
And in a bard.
Yeah, had no idea what a bard was till a couple years ago.
And we had a kind of a conversation a couple years back where it was, and Thomas called me out on it, because we had a big conversation about, I thought you said, wizard was the best class.
Yeah. Your exact line was Wizards of the Coast. Is that who makes it?
Yeah.
You said it's Wizards of the Coast. You have to take a wizard. It's the most powerful thing in the game. Yeah. And I'm like, that's dumb. But it looks like it.
And then, outside of that, I would kind of counter that and say potentially one of to the other guys that are playing, watching on tonight, that each class has its own specialty, but a bard has its own unique style. The player might have, if they really want to lean into it. Yeah. Thomas, are you going to sing?
No. He's not a singer. No, so I went more, and what really latched me onto the bard was I had this idea, right, of this guy was a moonshine runner. And growing up I told you my father's a truck driver. And so growing up watching Smokey and the Bandit, Convoy, Dukes of Hazzard, like all these things, like this was rolling through my mind. And in every one of these these shows, and just in my life growing up in the South, there's always a storyteller. People think I'm a great storyteller, and I am out here on the west side of the country, but back home I'm a dime a dozen. There's not like everybody tells stories. It's I don't know, it's something in the culture. And so I realized I needed something I could play to that. And so I did start reading through the Player's Handbook. And when I got to Bard, I thought, the line in there says something about they weave words, sometimes through song, sometimes through story. And right there, like, he's a storyteller. This fits. And so when I threw it out to you, you thought, oh, bards are great. And so that's how Smoke became a bard. I can't sing. I got a whole face for radio, voice for newspaper type of a thing. Singing is not my thing.
Okay, so now your typical bard. Okay, now we've covered that Smoke is borderline. He's a redneck.
Oh yeah, there ain't no borderline about it. He's pure redneck.
So
even a little roughneck.
Banjo?
No.
Wait. What else? Maybe like a barrel to like hit on for a drum.
So it's instruments.
Yeah.
The most what do we say? The most common was going to be the spoons. Maybe
spoons.
He's going to play spoons. If you'd ever let me get a set of spoons, he knows how to play them. It's what he knows how to play. He knows how to play the spoons. He plays a mean jug. He can get on a jug and just stay with the best of them.
So this should be pretty exciting.
Yeah, and then his other one, we haven't gotten to it yet. I hinted at it in session 0. Again, that homebrew sheet for raccoon. One of the subclasses was some Japanese raccoon. I don't remember the name of it, but they had this ability to inflate their stomach with air and use it as a drum. And you and I did some finagling back and forth. You took some of the skills from Possible Way, and you let me take this built. So basically, he's going to play his stomach. He's going to get a big breath of air and play his drum, and that's his 3 main instruments right there.
So, folks, we have a possum who's going to have spoons.
If you let me get them,
a jug, and a
belly drum.
Belly drum.
Yeah.
So look for Thomas to be kind of rumbling and beating his belly maybe with his drum. That would be kind of a fun thing.
Well, it all seemed to start to fit. That's.
So there's a lot of fun things that can kind of develop within Smoke. Kind of going in a bit into session 0, we go back a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And without going into too many spoilers in there, we had Smoke really not doing much around the farm. He was kind of trying to direct people around. And so we know right now he's kind of that lazy brother. He was probably like the middle child that wasn't doing very much, or an older child.
You misunderstand. And I tried to throw a hint at you.
Yeah.
With the whitewashing comment. I don't know if you caught it in session 0. I said whitewashing fences is fun. And it's not so much that he's lazy, but he can talk other people into doing the work for him. Now, he is a kind of a fixer, right? He's kind of part of his background and how he's had to do in the way he's kind of made his way is he can repair things and put them back together. Almost, there's not a mechanic in this system, but kind of toward that thinking. But using kind of combining that idea of somebody who fixes equipment and then so that other people can get the work done, and kind of tied that to like a Huckleberry Finn and a Tom Sawyer of this whole convincing other people to do the work instead. Yeah. I feel like that's right on, guy. That's just looking to sit back and play a jug.
Yeah, and the other part, I think I'm going to ask 2 more questions here.
Yeah.
And you really did not like this.
Oh, probably.
And the other guys didn't like it very much either. And I don't know. You can tell me if I was rude or mean within the comments, guys. What was it like starting a game without any equipment?
Yeah. So,
and yes, I did say that. Zero equipment.
Yeah.
Farm hands.
I think I cheated and gave him a set of clothes. I put the overalls on him, and that was it. That's all I had.
Erase that off there. You're supposed to start the game naked.
Yeah. Well, maybe we're getting to overalls. They're in the plan either way. I get why once we started it, why you wanted to start on that.
Because you guys all started out, they were basically farm hands. They were basically servants for the farm.
Yeah, we were honestly just working for room and board at that point.
Room and board at that point in time. So,
I pushed you on it because, he's a bard. He's got to have musical instruments or something. He's got to, and so I was like, well, how am I going to do these things? I did have the drum, so I can play some type of music. I can do things.
So we have the character sheet here. What do you have on there for
after session 0?
After session 0.
Well, let's notify the big thing on here. And actually, I gotta fix it because I gave one away. But the first thing I got to write down on my sheet was 3 potatoes on a sleight of hand check where I swiped some potatoes out of the field to try to tick somebody off with them. But as far as weapons, that was the thing you pointed out. Is I have a hoe handle that I'm using as a quarterstaff.
A hoe handle.
A hoe handle. That's what I was.
A bunch of gardener soaks. And what did you guys fight in there?
We fought.
Did you hit anything with that hoe?
No. I believe all I did in that whole fight was cast 1 bardic inspiration. That was it.
Pretty intense scene.
Well, I thought we were going to lose Bogdan's character. First off, I was like, I told him just don't die.
And everyone thinks I lie, but it seems about every single time that I open up with a shot on Bogdan.
Yeah.
It's like my dice go 20.
This is the first time he hasn't lost a limb.
And it didn't lose a limb this time.
He still took a critical. But he did not lose a limb. So yeah, we've had to scrounge for whatever we can get or find, and just trying to build it up that way, build up the resources we have to play or anything.
Yeah. So and the third thing is spoiler: Smoke survived session 0.
Spoiler.
Yeah. Expectation.
Yeah. He's a possum. They're resilient.
Is he pretty excited to go in town and do a little shopping? What's the first thing he's going to do there? Is he's got to go into the little hick town?
Well,
smuggling. Some shine, some clear water.
As soon as a moment allows, through all of his travels with his sailor river rafting background that we have for him, Smoke believes that the best way to get to know any town is basically to get involved in a brawl in the local tavern.
Oh boy. So we got.
He's going to be headed to whatever might be a tavern or a place where the people of the town congregate, just to see if we can throw some punches.
Now, what's he feel like, you think? Okay, so first of all, he's a possum.
He's a possum. What does he feel like?
This is a bonus question.
This is just kind of flowing. Like we talking to somebody pets him? Like
no, man. You're like he's a possum.
Yeah.
In a location where it's filled with goblins.
Yeah.
Hobgoblins. Ogres.
Yeah.
Gnolls. And harpies.
I don't know what a harpy is, but all right.
Oh, you don't remember the harpies? Like back in the day, you got that.
The thing that flying around in town and jumping around,
singing to keep people.
Okay, yeah, that's a harpy. All right.
Okay, so I want to, and there's a reference we can go off on another tangent story about how you guys remember the ogre fight over the cliffside. You had the singing harpies. Those are.
That's when I felt like I really understood Dungeons and Dragons. That fight,
yeah, it was really. Anyways, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah,
whole nother conversation. But going into there, I mean, Smoke. There's no other possums.
Yeah. So
Smoke
is fine with that. With the traveling he's done, he's rarely been around other possums, because normally, even if possums are in a place, they're usually going to be more skittish and hide. So he knew, even in his traveling, that if there were other possums around, it wouldn't be the first people he was going to run into or see. He's gotten used to living life, even amongst his family, because Jellybean is his uncle. He's used to, in his family, not everybody's a possum, right? The family extends out in different ways.
A lot of intermixing.
Well, got to pass the time somehow.
Yep, got to pass the time somehow.
So I think he's fine with that. He's got that side of him that, I don't want to say a chip on his shoulder. He's not looking to prove anything, but if the need arose, he feels like he could. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he's going to feel probably a little cocky, to be honest with you. Simply because whatever he's going to do, he's going to feel like he's in his element. Finally getting off that farm where he felt like his life was traveling, and that little bit of, you know, if I get in things too crazy or deep, Uncle Jellybean probably going to bail me out. So
we'll see.
Well, he may be wrong about that. Listen, in real life, I've had many cousins think Daddy was going to bail them out, and they sit in jail overnight over it. You know, I mean, that's how stuff goes.
Yeah, and I do want to encourage everybody, if you have not watched Session Zero, you know, our production line is gonna get better. I've got great confidence in the team that we've got together. Everyone seems real motivated to kind of make this happen. And man, again, we go back to the purpose of this. We want to share a story with you guys, the folks, because, you know, during the times that we got, you know, TV's getting boring, and I think we can kind of provide something a little different, different form of entertainment to everybody out there. A bunch of like no-name people with a very little bit of a role-playing experience. I think everybody around the table has a pretty good handle on how to play the game. We will have some bumps and some learning stuff, and a lot of times, guys, like honestly, I put out there in the Twitterverse that you know, the rules are there to guide the game, and if some things have been kind of, you know, messed up on the character sheet, we can fix that the next session and make that happen later on. But hopefully everyone at the end of that leveled up to level 2, because it'd be a bummer to be level 1 going into session 1 without some of the things.
And don't have 10 hit points. I mean,
and only have 10 hit points.
Yeah.
Where you can get 1 hit wondered. Still at 20 or 15, you can get kind of 1 hit wondered. Anyways, gotta love it, man. So, and ladies, that this is something that's gonna go on. And I know we've probably been talking for a while now, and want to respect everyone's schedules and stuff, but you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and now Reddit. So check us out, guys. Please subscribe, like, get notifications about us, about what's going to come out. We're going to try to hold true to this promise of 1 video a week. All things pending on what takes place here. But anyways, hey,
it is 2020.
It is 2020.
Flip a coin.
Woo!
Yeah.
So with that, we will say goodbye, and thank you very much, and thank you for your time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.